Lizette, what do we know?
Hi. My colleague Stanley and I dug into this and found that in helping delay Palantir go public and helping to arrange some of these private financings, Morgan Stanley not only deepened their relationships with Palantir, but also came up with about $60 million in extra fees, which would be about the same amount that they would be able to generate by taking it public, if the valuation stays as it was back in 2015, which is the $20 billion.
There's a question about the valuation, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions around the valuation. Since that peak in 2015, it's been revalued multiple times by various private and public investors, including Morgan Stanley, who most recently slashed their valuation after a series of reductions down to $4.4 billion from a high of $20 billion.
Wow.
So this is a massive and steady decline in value, which would, of course, reduce the amount of fees should Morgan Stanley decide to take it.
So which one is it, 20 or 4 billion? I mean, that's a huge difference. I mean, which way is the wind blowing?
It is, and this is the challenge and some of the drama and the excitement around privately traded companies. And we've reported before when some of these markdowns first started happening back in 2016. So this is a 2-year-long history that involves not only Palantir, but also it, at the time, involved now public companies, including Dropbox and Snap, and other ones where perfectly reasonable assessors of these values disagree on how much it's valued at, because they are illiquid shares. They trade in large blocks infrequently, and the people assigning the values don't describe what they're using to base it on, although it can range from different public comps to what their own internal projections are like for that whole market that they're attempting to address.
Now, what Palantir does has been somewhat controversial given who they work for and the perceived value that they actually add. How do you think investors will see that?
That's a good question. I think that there's an issue of Palantir as the company and providing its software. It's a data mining software service that's very consultant heavy, or it has been for a long time. And what it does is it can pull all sorts of information in, from financial transactions to last known location of a roadside bomb to status of someone who is attempting to immigrate, and pull it together in one spot, mine it for meaning, and then pull out certain patterns that people can dig into at a later date. Now, that's what it does. It, just like Microsoft or IBM or Tableau, there's some other products out there that do that, and they make it very, very easy to use. And that gets to the second part of the question that you just addressed, which is, how is this being viewed? And there are some concerns right now about the half of its business that services government agencies, including the Department of Defense, the Department of Homeland Security, the IRS, and other groups.